Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar where I will be speaking about how to drive webinar attendees and engage with them via email marketing. My name is Annette Matthews, a product marketer for Zoho Campaigns, and I will be your host for today. Before beginning the webinar, I would like to know if the audio and the video are clear. Any issue with communication, do let us know so that we can sort it out soon. And in case if you have any questions during this session, please feel free to ask them using the questions tab that is there at the top left corner of your screen. My team and I are looking forward to all the questions. I would also like to mention that we have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of this webinar where all of your questions will be answered. Now, without any further ado, let me begin our webinar for today by presenting before you the agenda. The agenda includes getting started with webinar email marketing, where I will be speaking about why webinars and why emails to market webinars, which will be followed by an introduction to both the products involved, that is Zoho Campaigns and Zoho Meeting. And lastly, I will be discussing about what do you get from the integration. And this will be done by showing a short demo of the same. So, before beginning, let me ask you a question. As a business person, what is your main goal as a business person? I'm sure that your main goal is sales, and if it's the right answer, then your secondary goal should be having new leads or contacts in your business. And have you thought about having new leads or contacts in your business, the ways in which you can have them? So for having them, have you ever thought about webinars? If not, this is the right time because we are here to help you out if you have any difficulties in doing so, where here we can learn it together. And moreover, if you have wondered what webinars can do to your marketing strategies, we have come to the right place. We're just going to discuss about that. But before moving on, here's a checklist to make sure that you have the materials to conduct a webinar. You have to personally ask these questions to yourself before planning for a webinar. So, yeah. Do you have a decent internet connection, a service provider for your webinar, a computer or a laptop? If the answer to all these questions is a yes, then why not conduct a webinar to educate your audience about your brand or about your product? So, once you have decided to conduct a webinar and after creating the outline of the webinar about the topic on what to discuss to your audience, you would think about the ways to promote it, right? So, still, we find businesses communicate through emails, isn't it? So, you can always depend on emails to promote your webinars. This is where Zoho Campaigns, the email marketing software, comes into use. So, you can engage your webinar attendees and registrants by dividing your email marketing strategies into 3 stages that include the pre-webinar emails, the post-webinar emails, and the during webinar emails. So, after scheduling a webinar, you would want to send invitation emails to your contacts, and those emails are known as pre-webinar emails, and once when they register using the pre-webinar email link, and when the time is nearing for the webinar, you can again send them reminder emails where the goal remains the same, which is to get more attendees for the webinar. And after the webinar, you can probably send them emails saying a thank you, a follow-up email. You can send them. Most of them would think that their relationship with the attendees is done when the webinar ends. But in fact, your relationship with them is just beginning after the webinar. So Once the webinar is over, you can send thank you emails to maintain your relationship with the attendees. And you can also probably send follow-up emails to registrants where you could say the "we missed you" type of emails where you could attach a webinar, the recording of your webinar, and this would make them feel that you value them as customers. So these type of emails are known as post-webinar email types. And now during the webinar also you can probably send them emails stating that the webinar is going to begin shortly, which will also help you get more attendees. And since now we are discussing about webinars and webinar email marketing, I will quickly explain about the products that are involved, which are the Zoho Campaigns and the Zoho Meeting. I know that few of you might be knowing about the functionalities of Zoho Campaigns, but also we have few of them who are not knowing about the product. So for them, I would just explain what Zoho Campaigns do. So basically, Zoho Campaigns is an email marketing software that helps you to create, send, and track email campaigns, which will help you to build a strong relationship with your leads and contacts. You can manage your list to strengthen your brand and to circulate messages with regard to your brand or product. You can create beautiful email templates using Zoho Campaigns. And also you can use the workflow and automation to optimize your email marketing efforts. And at last, you can measure your campaign's performance with the help of the reports that are provided by Zoho Campaigns. So this is a small basic understanding that you could receive about Zoho Campaigns. And now moving on to Zoho Meeting. So Zoho Meeting can be used to conduct instant and scheduled meetings for teams and organizations. You can engage your customers with presentations, question and answer sessions, and also polls to get detailed analysis of and reports of people who have participated. And with this, you can identify your targeted customers, collaborating with them online using the audio and the video sharing options. So you can record, replay, and share your webinars anywhere to anyone. So yeah, and since now we're discussing about the scope of the webinar, I will show you how to create and schedule a webinar with the Zoho Meeting. Yeah, so moving to the product, this is the Zoho Meeting where you have the option to schedule a webinar. So you have to click on the schedule a webinar. And yeah, so let's consider this example where Silker is an online magazine company and I am an email marketer for Silker. And I want my list of contacts to have a basic understanding about my magazine, its evolution, the type of content that they could expect from our magazine. So the best way is to schedule a webinar so that they can also ask the questions they have, the doubts that they have, they can clear it with us. So I would prefer webinars to be the best way to connect with my customers. So what I'll do is I'll schedule a webinar for them. So for the here you have to enter the title for the webinar, and since I'm conducting a webinar on Silker, the introduction to Silker, I would give the name as learn more about Silker. Yeah, and here you have to give a description which is optional, but then I will always suggest you to give a description so that your audience will get to know about what they could expect from the webinar. So join our free webinar next week to learn more about Silk. So yeah, so this will be the description, and also you can add the agenda here. Here's the agenda, so that it again makes the audience decide whether to attend it or not. So you can give in the agenda here, and here you can schedule the date and the time. So the time zone can be adjusted here. Yeah, and the duration also, it can be adjusted here. So yeah, and then you have to click on the schedule webinar. Yeah, now it's been scheduled. And here you would find the details which you have already given, and here you can customize your registration form. So if you would like to know from where your customers are, registering, so that it might be helpful in sending email promotion. So since I'm doing my webinar to help my audience understand about Silka, I would prefer my audience to submit their country or their region so that I can plan my email promotions accordingly. So I would give country and regions as a mandatory field while they are filling in the registration form. So I have to click on the save button. So now it's saved, and when they are registering, I can receive their country or region. So yeah, next to it is the link of the webinar which you can select, and you can copy and paste and share it across different platforms so that people would see and register it. And here you can grab the code and you can copy and paste this to your website or your blog so that your visitors will see it and you would receive more attendees for your webinar. So moving on, here we have the automatic approval settings which can be changed into a manually approval. The manual approve. So automatically approve means you don't have to do anything as a presenter or as a moderator. Once you send the email link, if they click on the link and if they register, they will be automatically approved as registrants. But if you're going to give the manually approve option, then you yourself as a moderator or as a presenter have to approve for them to register. So that's how it works, and you have to save it. And here you can find the total number of registrants, and there's also the approved list. You can find it here. And next comes the co-organizers. So if you're having any of your team members who would join your webinar as a host, then you can probably give them their name and their email address, and you have to add them so that they would be receiving a link and from which they can join the webinar. So that's about co-organizers. And so during the webinar, if you feel like asking any questions to your attendees, you can do it with the poll. So the question can be, did you get to know more about us? Did you get to know more about us? So yeah. So since I'm going to give them about the Silker, since I'm going to discuss about the introduction, about the magazine company Silker. So in between, I can ask them whether they got to know more about us, if it's working, if the webinar is working. And we can ask them to rate us. So if it's a 1 star, it could be poor. And if it's 5 star, it can be very good or extraordinary. So you can give anything, and you have to create a poll. And once when the attendees answer, it will be visible here. So you can get the details here about what they have answered. So And yeah, that's about creating and scheduling the webinar. So now I hope you got a basic idea about both the products, and now you would be thinking about what do you receive by integrating this products. So yeah, by integrating this, by integrating Zoho Campaigns and Zoho Meeting, you can promote targeted leads as customers by increasing your engagement with them through webinars and webinar promotional emails. You can segment the list in Zoho Campaigns to drive more attendees by sending emails that includes an effective overview of what they can expect from the webinar. And there are also pre-designed responsive templates in Zoho Campaigns which will help you to ease your email marketing efforts. So, and also you can conduct A/B testing for your webinar email promotions by altering the subject line, the email content, or the sender details to track the open rates and decide the best for your registrants or attendees. And last but not the least, you can track the reports of the emails sent, the number of registrants, the number of attendees, etc. in your Zoho Campaigns account to improve your email marketing the next time. So yeah, now we're going to move on to a short basic demo of this integration. So for that, you have to log into your Zoho Campaigns account, and here you'd find the settings in the left corner of your screen, where you will have all these settings, and you'll find integration here. And you have to click on the apps. So you have to go to the apps, and you will find Zoho Meeting here in the second line. So you have to click. So here it's already associated with an account. So if you have not associated with any of the accounts, then this is how it would appear. So you have to click on the connect. Here on the connect, if you click, you would be moving on to a page where this action, these three actions would be performed while integrating. So you would be able to know what will happen with this integration. So after you click on the continue button, you will be moving again to this page, and yeah, so this is how it would appear. You would see connected, and you can see how many accounts have been connected. One account is connected. So yeah. And after getting connected, you will find the data of your Zoho Meeting account getting automatically stored in the campaign account. And here, if you go to the contacts, you have to click on the contacts, and here if you move on to the sync services, you would find Zoho Meeting here, and you can edit the setup. So you can decide where you want the registrants to be added to the mailing list, to which mailing list they should be added, so that when you send future email campaigns, you can assign these registrants to any of your mailing lists, and the job becomes easier for you. So you can decide that, and you can edit the setup. So I want my registrants of my Silka webinars to receive updates and newsletter information about Silka. So I would add them to the updates and newsletters email list, and I want my attendees to get to know about the events that would happen with regards to Silka. So what I'll do is I'll add my attendees to Silka event list. And so here you can find the pre-mapped fields, and once it's done, you have to click on the save button. Yeah, so that's saved. And now moving on. So before sending them before sending your registrants or attendees emails, you have to get their consent, right? Because there would be people who would be registering and you won't have them in your mailing list. So you might be mailing them for the first time. So before mailing them, you have to get the consent of those people. For that, you have to create a sign-up form. So you have to go to the contact, and here you will find the sign-up forms. Where you have to click on the sign-up form, and here you will find the create sign-up form option. So yeah, here these are the few of the templates that Zoho Campaigns provide, and you can select any of these. So any of these templates can be selected, and you can edit these if you would like to edit it. So I feel this is fine, and I'll save and proceed. And you will be receiving a code which can be copied and pasted in different platforms. So to get a code, you have to associate this to a topic or to a mailing list. So I would want the code to be associated with the mailing list of updates and newsletters because my registrants have been added to the updates and newsletters mailing list, and I will be sending them emails. So I'll associate it to this mailing list. So yeah, and this is the code which I can copy and paste it to my website, where people who visit the website will be seeing the form, and they will enter their email address and name, and they'll click on the join now button. So that is like getting a consent from them to email them further. So you will also get the WordPress code, the short URL, the button URL, where if you generate the code, you'll be receiving a code which can be copied and pasted to any of the the call to action button in any of your emails that you're planning to send them. So yeah, that's how you create a sign-up form. And moving on. So yeah, now we're going to create campaign. So you have to click on the advanced campaigns, where you will have the create campaign option in the top right corner, and here you would find Zoho meeting. You have to create a regular campaign. So yeah, this is the first session where we have to update the basic information about the campaign that we're going to send. So here, this campaign name is for my reference, so that when I log into my Zoho Campaigns account, I'll get to know why I have created this campaign. So this campaign can be learn more about Silker. Since this is a webinar, and if I give webinar here in the title itself, I will be easily able to understand. So here you can choose the webinar, since the name of my webinar is learn more about Silker. So yeah, it gets automatically updated, and I would click on this, and here you can give the subject line. This would be seen by the recipient. So join our free webinar next week on Silker. So yeah, I would prefer this as the subject line, and sender name could be Emmett from Silker. So here, when you give the sender name, I would always suggest you to give the company's name also, because people might tend to forget your name, but they would always remember the brand's name. So this would increase the open rate. So yeah, always better to give the company's name in the sender address. So now the basic info is updated, and moving on, you have to click the next button. And here we find my templates, where the already saved templates can be uploaded, as content, and pre-designed templates and basic templates where you can create it by uploading your image and your own writing. So yeah, here I would prefer pre-designed templates. So we have 5 templates here. We can choose any of these. So I'll go with the second. Yeah, so it's getting loaded. Yeah, so this is the pre-designed template, and here the editor, here the merge tag will automatically get updated according to the details that you have provided in your meetings account. So you have already created a webinar and these details have been updated here. So you have to only change the content if you would like to change it. So here I would change it as if you're looking to get more information regarding Silker. This webinar is for you. Yeah. So yeah, that should be the content. And if I don't want this, I can delete this. Okay, and here the webinar description will automatically get updated. So if you've noticed, I've given agenda here, and this also gets previewed here. So I would not need this separately. So that is another advantage of giving agenda in your description. You don't have to repeat it again here. So here the date and the time would be mentioned. This is the call to action button where the link will automatically be updated. So you have to, if you want to change the wording, you can do it using the button properties where you have to edit the button, and you can maybe keep it as simple as register now. So if you notice here, the link automatically gets updated. So you have to save, and if you feel you have to change the design of the button, you can do it. You can click on the button properties again and you will have the design option here where you can adjust the width and the height of your button. So yeah, height also if you feel okay. Yeah, so you can preview it here itself and you can change the style also. So yeah, and you have to click on the save button. So yeah, that's how you update it. And here if you find, you can give the image of the person who is conducting the webinar. So here if you click on it, you can directly upload, mention the URL, image URL, and also you can upload from the computer. So yeah, so I'm ready with my content right now. And once it's done, you have to click on the save and proceed button. So the content is being saved right now. And here you have to always add a pre-header. So this is a short summary. This should be a short summary text of what you were planning or you were going to tell them. So you can probably mention as a free webinar on Silker. So you're giving them an idea that the webinar is conducted and it's a free webinar which will be on the topic Silker. And yeah, you can maybe probably mention the time also as next week, a free webinar next week on Silker, and you can click on the done button. So the pre-header is added, and here you can find the header and footer theme which must be updated. So yeah, I would prefer the Zoho Campaigns theme. So yeah, now it's done, and you have to click on the next button to save it. So yeah, here you have to select the list to which you would like to send the campaign. And yeah, so once it's selected, you have to click on the next button. So now your campaign is ready to be sent. So here you'll find 3 options where you can send it now itself, or you can schedule the campaign, and you can also send your campaign in batches if the number of your contacts is more. So that's why we have the send in batches. Yeah. And once the campaign is sent, you can find the number of registrants and attendees by clicking on the contacts and moving on to sync services. You can find the webinars being listed here. So you can find it here. So yeah, this is the webinar, learn more about Silker, and you would find the number of registrants here and attendees here. So if you click on the number, the details on it can be seen. So the details about the webinar, the registrants can be seen here. So here you find the total count, the new contacts, the re-added contacts, the duplicate contacts. So yeah, this gives an idea about the registrants. And if you click on the attendees here, the number, you can see the details about the attendees who have attended the meeting. So yeah, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for listening, and we will continue to be here for a while, and you can ask all your questions. So recording of this webinar will be sent to each of you as soon as possible, and in case of any feedback, you can send it to me directly at anat.m@zohocorp.com, or you can contact our support team at support@zohocampaigns.com. Also, any questions or clarifications regarding the product and product demo is required, please feel free to contact us in any of the email IDs that are mentioned on the screen.